A model of grassroots changes in linguistic systems. Janet B. Pierrehumbert, Forrest Stone-Dahl, Robert Daland. Linguistic norms emerge in human communities because people imitate each other. A shared linguistic system provides people with the benefits of shared knowledge and coordinated planning. Once norms are in place, why would they ever change? This question, echoing broad questions in the theory of social dynamics, has particular force in relation to language. By definition, an innovator is in the minority when the innovation first occurs. In some areas of social dynamics, important minorities can strongly influence the majority through their power, fame, or use of broadcast media. But most linguistic changes are grassroots developments that originate with ordinary people. Here, we develop a novel model of communicative behavior in communities, and identify a mechanism for arbitrary innovations by ordinary people to have a good chance of being widely adopted. To imitate each other, people must form a mental representation of what other people do. Each time they speak, they must also decide which form to produce themselves. We introduce a new decision function that enables us to smoothly explore the space between two types of behavior: probability matching, matching the probabilities of incoming experience, and regularization, producing some forms disproportionately often. Using Monte Carlo methods, we explore the interactions amongst the degree of regularization, the distribution of biases in a network, and the network position of the innovator. We identify two regimes for the widespread adoption of arbitrary innovations, viewed as informational cascades in the network. With moderate regularization of experienced input, average people, not well-connected people, are the most likely source of successful innovations. Our results shed light on a major outstanding puzzle in the theory of language change. The framework also holds promise for understanding the dynamics of other social norms. Janet Pierrehumbert is a leading experimental and computational linguist renowned for her work on prosody and intonation. She developed influential computational models of English intonation, crucial for speech technology, and co-founded laboratory phonology. Her research also significantly contributes to pragmatics by exploring how intonation conveys discourse structure and meaning, and she utilizes computational methods to study lexical systems, examining how language acquisition and use are shaped by cognitive and social factors. Janet Pierrehumbert grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, and Princeton, New Jersey. She pursued her academic interests by graduating from Harvard University with a degree in linguistics and a minor in mathematics. She then went on to complete her PhD in linguistics from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology (MIT) in 1980. Much of her foundational dissertation work was conducted at AT&T Bell Labs, where she also served as a member of technical staff until 1989. Marking the beginning of her distinguished career at the intersection of linguistics and computational science. Janet Pierrehumbert's foundational work began with her 1980 PhD dissertation from MIT, titled The Phonology and Phonetics of English Intonation. This seminal work established a groundbreaking computational model for English intonation, providing a system of underlying representation for intonational tunes and detailing how these tunes align with different texts. Crucially, it characterized the rules that map these underlying representations into phonetic realizations, including local context-sensitive rules for determining fundamental frequency contours and proposing a transform of the fundamental frequency domain based on experimental data. This dissertation laid the groundwork for the autosegmental metrical theory of intonation, which became a dominant framework in the field. Following her dissertation, much of her early work was conducted during her tenure as a member of technical staff at AT&T Bell Laboratories from 1982 to 1989. Intonational Structure in Japanese and English with M. Beckman, 1986, co-authored with Mary Beckman, this paper offers a comparative analysis of the intonational systems of Japanese and English. It meticulously applies the auto-segmental metrical framework, which Pierrehumbert helped develop, to describe the shared and distinct prosodic features of these two typologically different languages. This cross-linguistic approach was crucial for demonstrating universal intonational principles while also accounting for language-specific phonetic and phonological variations, significantly advancing the understanding of prosody. During this period, she continued to refine and expand upon her intonation model, often collaborating with colleagues like Mary Beckman on influential works such as their 1988 book Japanese Tone Structure. These early publications were instrumental in developing a formal, explicit, and computationally tractable account of prosody, moving the study of intonation from qualitative descriptions to quantitative and theoretically robust models that could be applied in areas like speech synthesis. Her contributions during this period were pivotal in establishing the field of laboratory phonology, emphasizing the integration of experimental data with theoretical linguistic analysis. The meaning of intonational contours in the interpretation of discourse with J. Hirschberg, 1990. In this highly cited paper, Pierrehumbert, collaborating with Julia Hirschberg, explores the pragmatic functions of intonation. They propose a detailed theory explaining how specific intonational contours, the patterns of pitch movement in speech, systematically contribute to a listener's interpretation of discourse. This work highlights how intonation provides crucial cues regarding discourse segmentation, the salience of information, a speaker's communicative intentions, and the overall organization of information within a conversation. Toby, a standard for labeling English prosody with K. Silverman, M. Beckman, J. Petrelli, M. Ossendorf, and P. Price, 1992. Toby tones and break indices is a widely adopted system for transcribing the prosodic features of English speech, developed by Pierrehumbert and a team of collaborators. This paper introduces and formalizes the Toby conventions, providing a standardized and reproducible method for annotating intonational tunes, accent types, and prosodic phrase boundaries. Toby has been instrumental in standardizing prosodic research, becoming a fundamental tool for researchers in phonetics, phonology, speech technology, and psycholinguistics. Papers in Laboratory Phonology v. Acquisition and the Lexicon, edited with M. Bro, 2000. This edited volume, co-authored with M. Bro, compiles significant research within the field of laboratory phonology, a domain that Janet Pierrehumbert helped establish. It specifically focuses on the dynamic relationship between language acquisition, how individuals learn their native language, and the structure of the mental lexicon, which encompasses a person's mental dictionary of words. The papers within this collection explore experimental and computational approaches to understanding how phonetic details are stored and accessed as part of word knowledge, and how this process unfolds during language development. Exemplar Dynamics, Word Frequency, Lenition, and Contrast, 2001. This paper introduces and explores the concept of exemplar dynamics, a theory positing that listeners store detailed phonetic memories, exemplars of individual word instances they encounter. Pierrehumbert examines how the frequency of a word's occurrence in speech influences its phonetic realization, often leading to phenomena like lenition, sound weakening or reduction. The paper also discusses how the need to maintain phonetic contrast between similar sounding words interacts with these frequency effects, proposing a dynamic model for how phonetic variation emerges and is processed. Word-specific phonetics, 2002. Building upon the theoretical framework of exemplar models, this paper further develops the concept of word-specific phonetics, arguing that the phonetic details of words are not entirely predictable from general phonological rules but are influenced by the specific lexical items themselves. Pierrehumbert proposes that listeners store fine-grained phonetic information associated with individual words, and this information can lead to subtle but consistent variations in how a word is pronounced, even when it appears in similar contexts. Phonetic Diversity, Statistical Learning, and Acquisition of Phonology 2003. This paper explores how the inherent phonetic diversity found in spoken language plays a crucial role in the process of statistical learning, which underlies the acquisition of phonology. Pierrehumbert posits that listeners are highly sensitive to the distributional properties of phonetic cues in their environment. Through these statistical learning mechanisms, they extract patterns from phonetic variation to form abstract phonological categories and rules, demonstrating how the seemingly noisy real-world speech data is actively utilized by learners to build their linguistic system. Similarity Avoidance and the OCP with S. A. Frisch and M. B. Bro, 2004-13. Co-authored with S. A. Frisch and M. B. Bro, this paper investigates the phenomenon of similarity avoidance in phonology, particularly in relation to the obligatory contour principle OCP. The OCP is a well-known constraint that disfavors identical adjacent phonological elements. The paper examines how languages often avoid sequences of similar sounds or features, whether through phonological rules or lexical restrictions, and discusses the cognitive and processing motivations behind such avoidance patterns, providing insights into the fundamental constraints governing sound systems. Hate check. Functional tests for hate speech detection models with Pierrehumbert et al. 2021. This collaborative work marks a shift towards applied computational linguistics, specifically in the critical area of ethical AI. Hate check introduces a novel benchmark for evaluating hate speech detection models. Instead of relying solely on overall accuracy metrics, this paper proposes a suite of functional tests designed to rigorously probe specific capabilities and vulnerabilities of these models, such as their ability to handle negation, implicit hate, or different target groups, aiming to provide a more nuanced and robust evaluation framework for this important natural language processing application. Dynamic Contextualized Word Embeddings with V. Hoffman and H. Skutza, 2021. This paper delves into the realm of cutting-edge natural language processing (NLP) by exploring dynamic contextualized word embeddings. Unlike traditional static word embeddings that assign a single vector to each word, contextualized embeddings such as those generated by models like BERT or ELMO can represent words differently based on their surrounding linguistic context. This research likely investigates how these embeddings capture the nuanced meanings of words in various contexts, potentially exploring their temporal evolution or the underlying factors contributing to their dynamic nature, thereby enhancing our understanding of how these powerful NLP tools function. Derivational morphology reveals analogical generalization in large language models with V. Hoffman et al. 2024. This very recent paper examines the sophisticated capabilities of large language models (LLMs) through the lens of derivational morphology, the linguistic process of forming new words from existing ones, e.g. adding suffixes like ness or prefixes like on. The research likely probes whether LLMs exhibit true analogical generalization, meaning they can apply learned patterns from known word derivations to novel, unseen examples, rather than merely memorizing forms. Probing large language models for scalar adjective lexical semantics and scalar diversity pragmatics with Eflin and D. Altschuler, 2024. Another recent contribution in the burgeoning field of LLM analysis, this paper investigates how large language models handle the meaning lexical semantics and usage pragmatics of scalar adjectives, e.g. hot, warm, cold, boiling. It specifically examines scalar diversity, which refers to the different ways such adjectives can be ordered or interpreted on a scale, and how their meaning or force shifts in various contexts. The research probes LLMs to understand if they can accurately represent and reason about these subtle semantic and pragmatic properties of scalar language, highlighting the model's understanding of nuanced meaning. Climate Viz. a benchmark for statistical reasoning and fact verification on scientific charts with RSU, JSI, and Z.17 GUO, 2025. This forthcoming publication introduces a new benchmark dataset and evaluation framework. ClimateVis focuses on the challenging task of enabling AI models to perform statistical reasoning and fact verification directly from scientific charts, particularly those presenting climate data. This research is highly relevant to the development of advanced AI systems that can accurately interpret complex visual information and draw reliable conclusions, which is crucial for scientific understanding, data analysis, and combating misinformation in data-driven fields. References and publications. Pierrehumbert CV. www.fon.ox.ac.uk retrieved March 7, 2025. American Academy announces 2004 Fellows and Foreign Honorary Members. American Academy of Arts and Sciences. Retrieved October 4, 2015. LSA Fellows by name. Linguistic Society of America. Retrieved October 4, 2015. Fellows of the Cognitive Science Society. Cognitive Science Society. Archived from the original on July 16, 2015. Retrieved October 4, 2015. Edward Sapir Professorship, formerly the LSA Professorship. Linguistic Society of America. Retrieved October 4, 2015. Queen, Robin, Cutsey, Andres. Report on the 2013 Linguistic Institute PDF. Linguistic Society of America. Retrieved October 4, 2015. 2019 NAS election. Academy of Europe, Pierrehumbert Janet. www.ae-info.org retrieved March 7, 2025.